Hi, educators. Have you ever wanted to do something really cool at your school, a project or some big trip, and you couldn't find the funding to do it? Well, I have got some ideas for you. I've got some tips and I've got some steps. I am Diane McKinley, and I have been in education for over 20 years. I've been a classroom teacher, I have been a writing coach, I've been an administrator, and I've also been at the Indiana Department of Education as an outreach coordinator. And now I own Encompassing Education, where I provide high quality professional development for schools all the time. And so I want to talk to you a little bit about what to do when you get so frustrated because there just doesn't seem to be enough funding to go around. You've got things like trips you want to take kids on. You've got projects that you want to do, or you've got school-wide initiatives that you want to do there as well. And you get super frustrated because you can't find the money to do all those things. You know they're going to be awesome things for kids, but you're just struggling to figure this out, and it can get so frustrating. So I am going to give you some super simple ways for you to be able to get those pieces funded at your schools. I have done this in more than 4 states. I have done it in urban settings, in rural settings, in suburban settings. So no matter what your setting is, you're going to be able to make this work for you. So if you are on with me right now, you're at the beginning of the broadcast, I'm going to give you a bonus tip. And so our bonus tip here is number 1, or call it number 1. I'm going to give you 5 steps plus a bonus. So here's your bonus. Your bonus is that when you're asking for funding, whether that's in an email or it's in a letter, you want to make sure that you're not asking for a specific amount. Instead, you're going to let the person know, or the group know, what the cost of the total project would be. And then you're going to say, we would be so grateful if you could contribute in some way. Any amount that you could contribute would be a blessing to us. We would be super excited about it, or how you want to word that is up to you. But you want to make sure that they understand that just because your project might cost $10,000, you're not asking them for $10,000. You'd be super excited with any amount that they were able to contribute. That is key. I can tell you that I've funded tens of thousands of dollars worth of projects, little bits at a time. Now, the other piece is I am not a very patient person. I don't know about you, but writing these big grants takes a lot of time. It takes time to develop the grant. It takes time to search for the grant. Then you've got to wait until the grant is open. Then after the grant is open, you've got to wait until they judge the grant. And then you've got to wait till they actually give you the money. Whew. By then, what I wanted to do with kids has long since passed. And so these simple steps are going to help you to be able to fund things really quickly and simply. All right, so you have your bonus tip. You know that you should be not asking for a specific amount. And with that, you always want to state in your letter that it is tax deductible, that you work for a public school and you have got a tax deductible letter with your EIN on it. And so you are looking for money, and it is going to be tax deductible for them. That is really, really key, because at this time of year especially, businesses have a set amount of money that they've put aside specifically to donate to causes that they find worthy. They want to make sure that they utilize those that money that they've set aside because they want it for a tax deduction. And here we are at the very end of the calendar year. So there are people who are in those businesses who have a set aside amount of money that have not yet given away that money. So they've got it sitting there and they're just waiting for the perfect person to come along and say, hey, we need that money. We've got a great cause. Share it with us. So when you're writing that letter, make sure you share with them that it is tax deductible. All right, so here we go. Step number 1 after the bonus. Step number 1 is that you're going to make a list of the itty bitty tiny businesses in your area. So I'm thinking about things like your local mom and pop shop. You're thinking about little restaurants that might be nearby. You're trying to think of things like a bed and breakfast. I'll tell you, I was in a school district one time and I wrote a letter to a local bed and breakfast, and I'm just going to tell you, I stumbled upon this bed and breakfast. I didn't even realize there was a bed and breakfast in the area. And so I decided to send them a letter, not thinking that they were going to send a dime toward the project that we were doing. Guess what? They did. They sent a sizable donation for a company or for a business that I hadn't even heard of before. They were excited to help support the local school. So tip 1 is make a list of every single small business that you can think of in the area. And if you're in a really rural area, that might be all you have, but that's okay. Now we're going to start to think of step number 2. Step number 2 is to create a list of those medium-sized businesses. Those are things that you're going to be thinking about, like your local dentist or your doctor, things like local credit unions. You also want to add them to the list. So that's your next tier, your medium-sized businesses. The third one is you're going to put together, you guessed it, your large businesses. Again, if you're in a rural area and you don't think you have lots of large businesses nearby, that's okay too. If they're in a radius, if they're farther away, they are still going to think about contributing to you if you ask. So many people don't ask. And again, especially those large businesses have a set amount of money that they need to contribute to some cause, and they're looking for you to do that. You might be thinking, gosh, Diane, that sounds great, but I don't know who to even contact there if I was going to send them a letter or send them an email. You just pick up the phone and you call that local business, that large business, and you say, can you please tell me who I should be contacting when I'm looking for local donations or local in-kind support or local monetary support. So you just call them up and say, who's in charge of your local giving? They will tell you who that person is right away. And that way you can email or you can mail them our special letter. Okay, now step number 4. So you have your small, your medium, and your large businesses all on a list. Step number 4 is to think about those that support teachers in the area. So I'm thinking about teachers' credit unions. I'm thinking about local retired teachers unions or organizations. Those types of organizations are going to be excited about continuing the work that they have done and put towards their mission for their entire life. So that's the next group that you want to make a list of. Wonderful. So now we're on to step number 5. Once you have those 4 lists, now it's time to email them your secret special letter. You're going to email them, or you're going to write them a handwritten letter. If you are writing a handwritten letter, here's the deal. It doesn't really have to be fully handwritten. You can type up a letter, but you're going to make sure it is addressed to a specific person. You're not just going to say, dear Mr. Whoever. You're literally going to put that person's name. So if it is Mr. Smith at the local credit union, you're going to say, dear Mr. Smith. You're not going to say Forum Credit Union or whatever credit union you might have nearby. You're going to make sure that it is addressed to a specific person. And then at the bottom, you are going to handwrite your signature. Don't type it, handwrite it. It just gives them a little bit of extra personalization so that they know this is coming from a real person. If you are doing an email, don't fall into this pitfall. Do not do a group mass email because it saves you some time. You are not going to get a response from that. You want to send out individual emails. Of course, you can copy and paste the body of the email, but you want to make sure you address it to a person, and you want to make sure that you name their business within that letter, within that email. And then you want to send those out individually to each person. Super important that you don't just mass email. Nobody will respond to that, and very often it will get caught in their spam filters anyway. So you now have a bonus tip. If you were listening from the beginning, you heard that. If you are watching us later on our video, go back to the beginning and make sure that you see that. And so we have our bonus tip and each one of our 5 steps. But you're thinking, wait a minute, Diane, you told me all of these steps, but you didn't tell me about the super secret letter that you do. Well, that, my friends, is really, really important. And so that is something that we need to get together, and I need to walk you through step by step on how to create that. It is the secret sauce that has gotten me tens of thousands of dollars in funding at schools to do a variety of different projects. And so I want you, when you're done watching this video, to go to my website, and I'm going to tell you about that in a minute, and you're going to have the opportunity to sign up to learn how to do this. Now, sign up is only going to be open until this Friday. So don't miss out. You're going to go to www.encompassing, that's encompassing with an I-N like Indiana, www.encompassinged.com/lounge-learn. Again, that's encompassinged.com/lounge-learn. And on there, you're going to see an opportunity to sign up for our funding webinar. It will be a really brief 1-hour webinar where I will walk you through each and every part of how to create that wonderful letter that will have all of the components that you need to help secure your funding. And I'm also going to give you some other tips and hints that will really help you out when you're doing this. And I will share with you some of the projects that I've funded in this way over time. Now, if you've watched this video and you found any part of it that's helpful to you, I would so appreciate it if you would share with friends, if you will like us, if you will comment, if you have some ideas of things that you could do for your funding, or if now that I've been talking about it, you're starting to scratch your head and think, hey, I think I might have some things I'd like to try at my school, please put a comment down in our comment box. Message me, let me know what it is that you're working on. I would love to hear about it. I'm super excited for your projects. Please let me know how it goes, and I hope you have a wonderful night.